The search for the meaning of life is a force that transcends any material barrier.
Life is not a choice between pleasure or suffering. It is a tapestry that includes both.
Our essence is like a precious diamond buried beneath layers of conditioning.
Our actions are seeds we plant, even if we are not here to see them grow.
Hello, I'm Ruby and Oliver, and today I have the honor of welcoming two of the greatest spiritual masters of all time. Osho, one of the most influential spiritual teachers of the 20th century, and Marcus Aurelius, the Roman philosopher emperor whose teachings remain relevant to this day. In this special episode, we will dive into a theme that touches the essence of being human. It all begins and ends with this: 10 ancient master lessons to discover the meaning of life. You, who are watching me now, will discover how to find true meaning in your life through the teachings of these two extraordinary masters. We will explore everything from the nature of suffering to the purpose of existence, touching on themes such as faith, science, and the pursuit of genuine happiness. Prepare for deep reflections on how the meaning of life emerges both in moments of joy and in adversity, how to balance the pursuit of pleasure with the inevitable reality of suffering, and most importantly, how to discover your true purpose regardless of your current circumstances. Our first question echoes through time and cultures. Is the search for the meaning of life a universal journey or a concern exclusive to those who have achieved material success? Osho, I would like to start by hearing your thoughts on this.
Rubian, this search is definitely universal and transcends any material barrier. It is interesting to note how, regardless of achievements or living conditions, we all carry this internal restlessness, this deep need to understand our purpose. You see, it is like a river that, regardless of crossing fertile valleys or arid lands, always seeks its way to the sea. In the same way, this search for meaning flows naturally in every human being. Even those who have accumulated wealth and prestige often face an inexplicable emptiness. What we discover when we dive into ourselves is that the true search for meaning is rooted in the very human condition. Mindfulness and self-knowledge are the keys that open the doors to this deeper understanding, leading us to a truly fulfilling and realized life.
What a profound perspective, Marcus. And you? How do you see this issue of the meaning of life and its relationship with material success?
You see, Rubian, this search is indeed a fundamental part of the human experience. It is like an inner flame that burns in each of us, regardless of our financial or social situation. I have observed that the true depth of the human experience goes far beyond material achievements. Think of a star in the night sky. Its light shines regardless of whether the observer is rich or poor. In the same way, the deeper questions about being, kindness, and morality arise in all life contexts, often with even greater intensity in difficulties and trials. True meaning reveals itself in our interactions, reflections, and actions that transcend selfishness. Therefore, I encourage everyone not to limit their search to material accumulation. The deepest meaning can be found in simplicity, in the kindness of our actions, and in the relationships we cultivate.
Extraordinary how both perspectives converge to a universal truth. It is clear that the search for meaning is a journey that unites us as humanity, regardless of our bank account. Let's move on to the next question. But before we continue, let me give you an incredible tip. Did you know that it is very easy to stay ahead of 99% of people, succeeding in everything you want for your life? I will leave a link below in the first comment to a book that changed my view on various aspects of my mind, and that has been helping thousands of people find clarity and confidence to achieve their goals and dreams. Be sure to check it out. I'm sure you will love it. This reflection leads us to an even deeper question. Osho, if life is finite, what is the meaning of our actions and achievements? How do we find purpose knowing that everything is transient?
Rubian, the finiteness of life is precisely what makes each moment precious and meaningful. You know, when you are in a park, surrounded by nature, every flower you see gains special meaning because you know it won't be there forever. It is this awareness of impermanence that makes us appreciate each experience more deeply. Our actions may seem small in the face of the vastness of the universe, but they are like waves that propagate beyond ourselves. When we act with awareness and authenticity, every gesture, every word, has the potential to touch other lives in ways we cannot even imagine. True meaning is not in accumulating achievements, but in living each moment fully. It is as if every shared smile, every act of kindness, every sincere conversation is a golden thread weaving the meaning of our existence. The depth with which we live and connect with others, that is where we find the real value of our actions.
What a profound reflection. Marcus, how do you see this question of the meaning of our actions in light of the finiteness of life?
Rubian, the awareness of our finiteness actually amplifies the meaning of everything we do. It is as if the limit of time gives us a special lens to see the value of each moment. The meaning lies in the pursuit of virtue and the contribution we offer to our community. Our actions are seeds we plant. Even if we are not here to see them all grow, they continue to nurture and transform the world around us. What truly matters is the quality of our experiences and the love we share. When we live with integrity and compassion, each of our actions resonates far beyond our physical existence. It is in the way we touch the lives of others and in the legacy of kindness we leave behind that we find our deepest purpose.
Fascinating how both perspectives show us that finiteness, far from emptying meaning, actually intensifies it. Let's continue our exploration. And for you who are noticing the quality of this conversation and the depth and importance of what we are discussing here, please help us by leaving your like and also comment on what you would like to see here on our channel. I sincerely appreciate your help. Now we come to a question that touches the heart of the human experience. Osho, how can we reconcile our natural pursuit of pleasure and happiness with the inevitable reality of suffering and death?
Rubian, this is a profound question that leads us to reflect on the very nature of life. It is interesting to realize that we often see pleasure and suffering as irreconcilable opposites, when in fact they are like two sides of the same coin. Imagine life as a symphony. It needs both soft and intense moments to create its complete beauty. When we accept that pleasure and suffering are natural parts of this composition, we begin to develop a more mature relationship with both. Mindfulness and self-observation allow us to develop an inner peace that goes beyond the frantic pursuit of pleasure or the escape from suffering. It is through this practice that we can find a deeper happiness, rooted in the total acceptance of life, with its joys and sorrows. Suffering, when embraced wisely, becomes our most valuable teacher. And the awareness of death, far from being a burden, can awaken us to a deeper appreciation of the present, transforming everyday moments into precious experiences.
What a transformative perspective. And you, Marcus? How do you see this dance between seeking happiness while dealing with the inevitable pains of life?
You know, Rubian, this question invites us to a more mature understanding of happiness. Life is not a choice between pleasure or suffering. It is a tapestry that includes both, woven with moments of light and shadow. The secret is to cultivate a joy that transcends momentary circumstances. When our actions are aligned with deeper values such as justice, truth, and benevolence, we discover a form of contentment that remains even amidst difficulties. The key is to develop a wise relationship with pleasure, fully appreciating it without clinging to its permanence. When we can see beyond immediate suffering, every experience, whether pleasant or challenging, becomes part of our journey of growth and understanding.
Impressive how both show us that true wisdom lies not in choosing between pleasure and pain, but in embracing life in its entirety. Let's move forward. A profound question that touches the essence of the human experience. Osho, is faith a refuge for the weak or a source of strength and resilience in the face of life's adversities?
Rubian, faith, when understood deeply, transcends this simplistic dichotomy of strength versus weakness. It acts as a powerful source of transformation and resilience on our journey. Imagine a tree facing storms. Its deep and healthy roots are like faith. The deeper they are, the better it withstands strong winds. Faith is not an escape from reality, but rather an anchor that keeps us grounded when everything around seems to crumble. In moments of despair, she becomes a light that illuminates the dark path, allowing us to face challenges with dignity and perseverance. The real question is not whether faith is for the weak or the strong, but how we can cultivate it consciously, integrating it into our journey of self-discovery and awakening.
What an enlightening perspective. And you, Marcus? How do you see the role of faith in our lives?
Well, Rubian, when understood in its essence, faith connects us to something greater than ourselves, providing an extraordinary inner strength. It's like a sailor in the midst of a storm. Without trust in their boat and their navigation skills, they could succumb to fear. Faith acts as a compass that guides us through life's storms, bringing clarity and purpose. This connection to a sense of transcendence strengthens our spirit and allows us to look beyond immediate pain. Instead of seeing adversities as insurmountable barriers, faith teaches us to recognize them as opportunities for growth and learning. It's not a matter of weakness or strength, but of a wisdom that reminds us of our innate ability to overcome challenges.
Extraordinary how both views show us that faith is, in fact, an expression of our deepest inner strength. Let's move on to the next question, a question that touches the core of human knowledge. Osho, have science and philosophy failed to answer the great questions of existence, or have they simply given us the wrong tools to understand them?
Rubian, that's a fascinating reflection. You see, both science and philosophy are like different lenses through which we try to see reality. Science is like a microscope that allows us to see the details of the material world, while philosophy is more like a telescope that helps us contemplate the broader horizon of existence. Think of someone trying to understand the essence of a song by merely analyzing the notes on the sheet music. No matter how precise that analysis is, it will never fully capture the emotion that the melody evokes in our hearts. Similarly, science and philosophy offer us valuable insights, but they may miss the more subtle and profound dimensions of human experience. True understanding arises when we integrate scientific and philosophical knowledge with our direct experience through conscious practice and self-observation. It's as if we need both the map and the inner compass to navigate the territory of existence.
What a fascinating analogy. And you, Marcus, what is your perspective on how science and philosophy help us, or limit us, in understanding the great questions?
Rubian, note that it's not a matter of these tools failing, but of how we use them. It's like a skilled blacksmith. Having the best tools means nothing if we don't know how to use them masterfully. Science provides us with data and evidence, while philosophy invites us to explore the deeper foundations of those discoveries. But the great questions of existence often transcend what can be measured or rationalized. They inhabit a territory where direct experience and deep contemplation are essential. The secret lies in recognizing both the possibilities and limitations of these approaches, using them as bridges to a broader understanding without trapping ourselves within their confines. True wisdom emerges when we can integrate scientific and philosophical knowledge with our own lived experience.
Incredible how both views show us that it's not a matter of failure, but of integration and wisdom in using these tools. Let's move on. We come to a crucial question about our life choices. Osho, between ignoring problems, seeking unbridled pleasure, giving up on life, or living in a limbo. Which of these approaches do you consider most harmful in our search for meaning?
Rubian, that's an important reflection. Each of these choices carries its own trap, but ignoring problems and living in a limbo are particularly destructive. When we avoid facing fundamental issues in our lives, it's like building a house on quicksand. Sooner or later, everything collapses. The unbridled pursuit of pleasure is also a subtle trap. It's like trying to quench your thirst by drinking seawater. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. Momentary pleasures may distract us temporarily, but they ultimately leave us feeling emptier. Giving up on life is like closing the curtains on a sunny day. You deny all the beauty and potential that exists outside. And living in a limbo, it's like being a leaf in the wind, without direction or purpose, merely existing without truly living. The path to a meaningful life requires the courage to face our challenges, transforming pain into wisdom and obstacles into opportunities for growth.
What powerful analogies. Marcus, in your view, which of these approaches distances us most from a meaningful life?
Look, Rubian, among all these choices, the pursuit of unrestrained pleasure and the deliberate ignorance of problems are the ones that distance us most from true meaning. It's like living on the surface of a deep ocean, satisfied only with the waves, never diving into the depths where the true treasures lie. When we lose ourselves in fleeting pleasures or pretend our problems don't exist, we create a bubble of false security that inevitably bursts. True growth and meaning arise when we have the courage to confront our most difficult issues. Even despair or limbo, as painful as they may be, can be starting points for profound transformation, as long as we decide not to remain in them. It is in the conscious facing of our challenges that we find the path to a truly meaningful existence.
Fascinating how both perspectives show us that fleeing from problems is the greatest obstacle to our growth. Let's move on to the next question. We arrive at a fundamental question about the human journey. Osho, is it possible to find purpose in life without resorting to a religious or spiritual belief?
Rubian, the search for purpose is a deeply personal journey that does not necessarily depend on religious or spiritual beliefs. The secret lies in the quality of our presence and awareness in the present moment. It's fascinating how we can discover meaning in the simplest experiences of everyday life. Imagine a person dedicating their time to helping others in their community. They may find a profound sense of purpose in these actions, regardless of any specific belief. Mindfulness allows us to perceive the connections between our actions and emotions, revealing a purpose that emerges naturally from within. When we delve into our essence, rather than relying on external dogmas, we discover meaningful truths that reflect who we truly are. The understanding that we are part of something greater, whether through our connections with other human beings or with nature itself, can give us a profound sense of meaning without necessarily resorting to religious structures.
What an enlightening perspective. Marcus, how do you see this possibility of finding purpose beyond religious or spiritual beliefs?
You see, Rubian, purpose can be discovered through reason and the practice of virtue without necessarily depending on religious beliefs. It's like an architect who finds satisfaction in creating spaces that benefit people's lives. Their purpose emerges from the constructive action itself. When we dedicate ourselves to actions that promote the common good and exercise our capacity for ethical reasoning, we naturally develop a deep sense of meaning. The value of life does not lie in the beliefs we profess, but in the choices we make and the positive impact we generate. By focusing on what is useful and constructive, following our rational and moral essence, we find genuine satisfaction that transcends the need for formal religious structures. It is in the daily practice of virtue and the pursuit of the greater good that we discover our true purpose.
Notable how both show us that purpose can arise from the very quality of our actions and awareness. Let's proceed. A reflection that touches the core of our existence. Osho, is the search for the meaning of life an individual or collective journey? How do we navigate between these two dimensions?
Rubian, this search is like a dance between the individual and the collective. On a personal level, each of us carries a unique essence, an inner voice that needs to be discovered through self-exploration and connection with our own consciousness. However, this journey does not happen in isolation. It's like a river that, although it has its own course, joins other rivers, forming something greater. Our interactions, family ties, and cultural contexts deeply enrich our search for meaning. When people come together to share their reflections and experiences, whether in philosophical study groups or personal growth circles, each individual perspective contributes to a broader understanding. It is in this intertwining of the personal with the collective that we find a deeper awakening of consciousness, where each becomes a reflection of the whole.
What a beautiful perspective. Marcus, how do you see this dynamic between the individual and the collective in the search for the meaning of life?
Rubian, this search is fundamentally rooted in our individual essence. Each person carries within them a unique demon, a guiding force that directs their choices and actions. However, this individual journey is greatly enriched through our connection with the community. Our understanding of what is meaningful is shaped by shared experiences and the awareness that others are also on their own quests. It's as if each person is a musician playing their own instrument, but together we create a much richer and more significant symphony. The balance lies in honoring our personal journey while remaining open to the contributions of the community. The questions we ask and the answers we find can resonate with others, weaving a common tapestry of meaning and understanding.
Fascinating how both perspectives reveal that the meaning of life flourishes precisely at this intersection between the individual and the collective. Let's move on. A question that touches the deepest essence of being human. Osho, if everything begins and ends with what we are, what is this what we are, and how can we access it in our lives?
Rubian, this essence that we call what we are is like a precious diamond buried under layers and layers of conditioning. It is our purest consciousness, our true core, but most of us live so wrapped up in constructed identities that we can hardly glimpse this inner treasure. It's interesting to note that we are, for the most part, in a kind of deep sleep, merely reacting to the world around us, like puppets being pulled by invisible strings of conditioning. To access our true essence, we first need to recognize this state of sleepwalking in which we live. Meditation emerges as a powerful tool in this process. It allows us to silence the constant mental noise and look within, like someone cleaning a dusty mirror to see their true reflection. As we develop this mindful awareness, we begin to perceive the difference between who we truly are and the masks we wear.
What a profound analogy. Marcus, how do you understand this, what we are, and the path to access it?
Look, Rubian, what we are is like a crystalline spring at the center of our being. It is the essence of our soul, where our deepest principles and true nature reside. It is a sacred space within us, free from the distractions and judgments that the external world constantly imposes on us. To access this essence, we need to cultivate quality moments in our inner retreat. It's like taking a break from the noise of the city to listen to the silence of the forest. Only then can we distinguish our authentic inner voice amidst the chaos of superficial thoughts. This process requires dedication to mental purity and integrity of character, aligning our actions with our deepest values. When we can regularly inhabit this internal space, we discover a fuller and more meaningful path for our lives.
Remarkable how both perspectives show us that our deepest essence lies beyond the layers of conditioning, waiting to be rediscovered through awareness and inner silence. Let's move on to the next question, a question that touches the essence of the human experience. Osho, is life an experience merely to be lived, or does it necessarily have to have some greater purpose?
Rubian, this is a reflection that invites us to take a deeper look at our existence. Life is like a majestic river that flows naturally. Each moment brings its own richness and meaning. When we get lost in the obsessive pursuit of a greater goal, it's as if we are always looking at the horizon, forgetting to appreciate the landscape around us. The true art lies in living each moment with full awareness, recognizing the sacred in the simplest experiences. This doesn't mean we should live without purpose. It's more like meaning emerges organically from our way of being in the world, from our conscious presence. When we surrender to the experience of life with open heart and mind, we discover that purpose is not something we need to desperately seek outside. It arises naturally from within, like a flower blooming in its own time.
What an enlightening perspective. And you, Marcus, how do you see this relationship between living the experience and having a greater purpose?
Rubian, in my view, while life is rich in experiences, living without a greater purpose would be like navigating without a guiding star. Each moment can be precious in itself, but it is through a higher goal that our experiences gain depth and coherence. It's like a musical composition. Each note has its own beauty, but it is the harmony of the whole that creates something truly meaningful. When we align our actions with values such as justice, integrity, and benevolence, we transform our journey into something more than a series of random events. Our rational and social nature invites us to seek a purpose that transcends the individual. It is in this quest to contribute to something greater that we find a deeper sense of meaning in our existence.
Impressive how each perspective offers us a unique viewpoint. While one reminds us to embrace the present, the other invites us to elevate our gaze to something greater. It seems the secret lies in integrating both. Wow, what an incredible conversation we had today. Before we wrap up, I want to highlight how special it was to explore these deep reflections on the meaning of life with our masters. The perspectives they shared on pleasure, suffering, faith, and purpose surely touched the heart of everyone who watched us. I want to immensely thank Osho and Marcus Aurelius for bringing so much wisdom and depth to this episode. It was an incredible honor to have you here, and I truly hope to welcome you again for more transformative conversations like this. If you've made it this far, you can check out more amazing content by clicking on one of the 2 videos that appear now on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We always bring relevant and transformative themes like this, which can make all the difference in your journey of self-discovery. Thank you for watching until the end, and I wish you to be free from everything that takes away your peace.